Okay, Abigail will be glad to see this when when she watches this video. Yesterday, she worked on this car. We were trying to get a remote control to drive the car and control it rather than using Bluetooth. This is the controller she was working with. It's by DF Robot. For some reason, it could be this individual one controller. These buttons were not responsive. When we pressed a button, it did not send a radio signal. I'll show you the code that we worked with. She eventually got it to work with the A and B buttons, these white buttons, but just minimally. So I decided that I would try this Yaboom brand. They call it a game handle, game controller, and it works much better. It has a joystick instead of buttons on the left side, and it has more control buttons on the right side. Of course, we can use, and I'll show you this in the code, we can use the accelerometer and the BBC microbit to tilt it and give control that way. So I also had the idea of using this controller, which I believe is another DF Robot product. It does send radio signals when we press buttons 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. However, it doesn't have as far as I can tell, a way to stop sending the signal by lifting the finger off of the capacitive touch. So in other words, unlike this, which has a center point, which is called no state in the code, going forward, let it up, it hits no state and sends a different signal at no state. Press the button, let up, sends a different signal at the no state on this button. Here's what the product looks like for the controller. It is working with our KittenBot motor driver. That motor driver by KittenBot has the BBC microbit, which has the radio system, and this game handle has radio system, so they're compatible. Here is the code for receiving and controlling the wheels, all plus numbers. It could be a lot faster. I have it set at 150 right now. All minus numbers for back. And then I worked out that turning left uses these particular motor numbers and values. And no state equals 0, and that stops all motors. There's a lot more we can do with this robot bit. That includes servo motors and other motors. Here is the send code. I'll put both of these, links to both of these in the description of this video. This is using GH-bit, they call it. That is the Yaboom game handle. GH-bit extension, that will be in the code link. When you click on it, it will download that extension. And we're just saying that send a number with up, send number 1, down, send number 2. That's with the joystick. And when it's in no state, send 0. And in the receive code, when you receive 0, stop all motors. That's the way that's working. You can see that we've got other options. GH-bit has other options that pertain to the game handle, such as buttons 1, 2, 3, and 4. That would be these buttons. And then, as I've said, A button and B button, we could press on the microbit, send numbers, whatever numbers you choose, and also on tilt, we can send, or on shake, many different inputs in the microbit. We could also choose if light level is sensed to be low, then send number like number 15, and that number then, if received by the car, it could light up an LED strip, RGB LED. Much of this is not available with Bluetooth because the Bluetooth program consumes a lot of processing power on the microbit. So we get error messages on the microbit when Bluetooth is used, when we're trying to combine, for example, RGB and music. I was showing this in another video, and I show where to get these products. This video that I made was showing how to cut out the Lego base plate to fit the chassis, and this chassis is a kit. And I'll show you again here, the code in the description of that video. Is this code, just running forward, backward, left, and right, and this code had the Bluetooth extension. And remember how we get rid of extensions. Bluetooth will not work if you've got radio in the same program. So we go to JavaScript, we go to Explore in JavaScript, we scroll down and find the extension that we want to delete, and we hit trash can, and then we say yes, remove it. And now we can go back to our blocks if we want to work in graphical, if we want to work in blocks, and we don't see radio. This is radio control, so we go to extensions, we find radio broadcast, and now we have radio, and so now we can do our various messaging, receive and send. In this case, it would be receive numbers, then do something. There will be more about all this. Like I say, I'm sure Abigail will be glad to see that we've got a remote control that works consistently with radio broadcast, that has many options for operating a lot of different motors. This kit and bought motor driver has a lot of input pins for different motors. Like I say, we can program it to run faster than 150. There will be more.